Hi, welcome to Annalise Maths. Today we're going to be looking at place value, which is part of the entry level 3 criteria. Our learning objectives for this session are to understand that the position of a digit signifies its value. We need to know what each digit in a 3-digit number represents, including the use of 0 as a placeholder. We need to read and write numbers up to 1,000, including 0. This is part of the Edexcel spec. The keywords for today's session are digits, units, tens, hundreds and thousands. The most common areas where people lose marks in this particular topic is not understanding that the position of a numeral gives it its particular value. Also, not understanding the place value of numbers, especially when ordering numbers, and the vocabulary used within the unit. We're going to go through each of these to make sure you're happy with that. So let's look at place value. The ordinary counting system uses place value, which means that the value of the digit depends upon its place in the number. Now we use a counting system called base 10, and we're going to look at that now. So in this particular number, we've got 7 hundredths, 2 tens, and 1 one, or sometimes called units. So we would write and say this number as 721. Now note the hyphen. When writing a compound number, so anything between 21 and 99, it's good practice to put a hyphen. You won't be penalised if you forget your hyphen, however it is good practice to put a hyphen in these particular numbers. Let's look at another example. So in this number, we've got 5 thousands, 3 hundredths, 4 tens, and 8 ones. So altogether, this would be 5,348. If you notice, when we're talking about the individuals, this 5 is in the thousands section. So it's 5 thousands. We wouldn't say that when we speak it, we would say 5,000, but if we're asked about that 5 on its own, that 5 is 5 thousands. Let's look at another example. So in this one, we also can use 0 as a placeholder. That means there's no amount in that particular place value column. This can help us to write the digit properly. So in this particular example, I've got 5 thousands, 4 hundredths, I've got no tens, and 2 ones, which I would write as 5,402. If you remember back to our common misconceptions, this was one of the things where people lose marks. Because we don't say 5,400 no tens and 2, sometimes people forget that 0, but it's very, very important, because if I tried to write it 5,402 and forget about the fact that there's no tens in this number, then I end up writing 542. So I need to be really careful to use my 0 as a placeholder when there's nothing in that particular place value. Okay, we need to be able to write each digit as sums. This is going to really help us when we come to multiplication, especially if you use grid method multiplication, but it's going to help us to understand the value of each digit and what each digit means. So for example, 732 is 730 and 2. What I would like you to do is pause this recording and see if you can copy my example and write these numbers in that particular format. Okay, let's look at those answers. So 832, 830 and 2. I just want to highlight C, 208, 208. Don't forget, I've got no tens. I don't need to signify that as a value because there isn't a value. And if I was using this, as I say, in grid multiplication, I wouldn't need a tens column in my grid because there isn't one. The same with 570. I've got no units at all, so I don't need to note that. One of the other things that's useful to know is to know the individual value. So I want you to see if you can work out the value of each of my red digits. So for example, 732, my 3 is my red digit. So that particular 3 stands for 3 tens or 30. Don't forget it's 3 tens because it's in the tens column. I need to remember my S. So see if you can do that for each of these examples, please. Let's have a look at those answers. Hopefully you got those correct. For E, if you've written 0 tens, that's absolutely fine, but a 0 is a lack of place value. One of the other things we have to be able to do is we have to know how to write numbers into words and then words into numbers. So again, I would like you to pause the tape and give these a go for me, please. Let's see how you got on. Again, don't forget, if you've got a compound number, we pop that hyphen in there. Again, you're not going to get penalised if you forget it, but it's good practice to do so. So in this little video, we looked at understanding the position of the number signifies its value. So we looked at 700, 4 tens, 2 ones. We knew what each digit represented, including using 0, and we were able to read and write numbers up to 1,000. I hope this video was useful for you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you've got any questions, please pop them in the comments, or anything that you want me to do, please let me know. Thanks very much. Bye.